9 months ago, I started a video. Actually, I did this, started editing the video not too long ago. There was a member of one of the groups that was asking me about the video. Thank you very much for putting pressure on me, lighting a fire under my ass to get this done. Good news is I got it done. Bad news is I'm going through the video footage, and some of it, the audio is just horrible. There's video that is not in focus, so I sincerely apologize. I put it together. I'm publishing it right now, 9 months too late. I apologize for that, but here it is. This is how I put the air shock, the Arnott Air Ride on my 2020 um, Springfield Dark Horse. So got everything working. Video's edited, so please enjoy it. Leave comments if you want. I've got all of the links to the parts I used and the tools in the video description. And again, thanks for watching. Any questions, leave them in the comments, and take you back 6 months, 9 months actually. Take you back 9 months to when I first did this. I'm going to take this panel off, and it just pulls out these little grommets. Set that aside. I want to unplug this wiring harness. It goes to the bags. It's right here. And then we're going to take the bags off. So we'll do this on both sides. We'll remove the bags. I won't do it all on camera on the other side, but I'll show you how to take the bags off. We're going to use a 6mm Allen. I'm going to take these two out. You might want to move your leg across to hold the bag on so it doesn't fall off. And now carefully set this aside. Make sure you don't lose these little rubber grommets. You'll need those later. So I'm going to set this aside. I'll do the other side of the bike and join you back in a minute. All right, so we're going to take these Fender inserts, whatever you want to call them, pop these off. I'll pop those off on both sides. I'm going to take these spools off. This is going to be an 11mm. You have to pull these rubber caps off. I said don't lose. Still don't lose them. All right, do that to both sides. I'm going to change back over to, while we're on this side, our 6mm Allen, and we're going to loosen up the seat. Okay, so everybody's seat's a little bit different. I've got the CC Rider seat. Check that video out if you want to learn about the seat. But they're pretty much the same. You unscrew here, get this, make sure you don't lose the little rubber pieces underneath there. And then you just want to hold up and pull back and try to get off these two little horn pieces there on the underside of your seat. So set this aside. We're going to take this leather strap off. The bracket is 2 8mm hex. Stuff to take it off the bike so far. And then we'll move on to the next piece. Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to get this panel off. So in order to get access to that, we've got to take the floorboard or peg, whatever you've got on yours, but we've got to take this off. And looks like this, on my bike at least, the rear saddle bag highway bar. So this is going to be a 6mm on mine. So Alan, take that off. In here, at least on this bike, they got these adapters, so you got a cover here. And this is an 8mm Allen. It's too deep to get to my sockets, so you have to just get it off with a hand tool. With mine, what I did is to get a little leverage, I put a wrench on it like this, and then pulled it off just to get it started. So you pull this off here. Again, there's an 8mm Allen. All right. So it goes without saying that this is the perfect time to clean all your shit too, because you're going to have the bike apart. it's hard to see in here, but there's like little rubber grommets that are holding this panel on. There's one up here, one down here by the exhaust. So you've got to get your finger in there, pop it off, and then you should be able to wiggle it out. Okay, I'm going to take these trim pieces off first, and then I'm going to move over to these little posts that the grommets were on. These are 13 millimeter, and these are a 10 millimeter. So. This bolt here, this little pin, it's a 13 millimeter. Let's loosen that up. And then there's one down here. Again, these are the pins that we took that trim piece off of. And on the other side of the bike, there's actual 6 millimeter Allen bolts in this location on the other side of the bike. You'll need to remove those as well. And it just dropped a washer, so be careful of that. Next, I'm going to move up to here. If you can see, this is a bunch of little plastic rivets that hold the fender. They're just little pop rivets, so get under the center part with a trim tool and pull it up like that in the center. And then you should be able to get underneath the larger part and pull it out like that. So there's 3 of those. So I'll finish doing the other 2 of these, and I'll get this side done, and then we'll join back. We're getting ready to we're getting really close to getting the bike jacked up and get into the nitty-gritty of the video. All right, join you back in a second. Okay, so one of the things, this bracket is really close. I mean, I loosened it up already, but so it's really close to the fender. You can see on both sides it is. So I was kind of worried taking this off. This is a 13 hex. I didn't want to drop the mufflers or the slip-ons off, but I realized that if you just loosen it up a little bit, this piece slides out really easy. It's just grooves in there. So you're going to want to take both sides off so you don't risk having those on there and putting a nice little pinstripe on your fender. You don't need to take the bolts all the way out. In fact, you don't want to, because otherwise your pipes will just drop. So, all right, I just want to show you guys that, and then let me finish the other side up and join you back in a minute. All right, so I'm switching over to the GoPro for this one a little bit, and see if you can see what I've done. So we've got all the bolts off the fender except for these 2. These are the inner fender bolts. They are back. There's one by the sprocket here, and then there's 2 on the other side. So these bolts are 13 millimeter. So you want to back them out about halfway. See how I've got them loosened up, because this fender is going to then lift off. See how it's loose? It's going to lift off of those screws, bolts, and then we'll be able to move the fender out of the way in order to get access to the shock bolts. So we're getting really close now. So loosen up 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and then we lift the fender and move it so we can get access to the shock. Okay, so once I got the 4 bolts, 2 on each side, loosened up about halfway, the fender sits on those. They act as studs. They sit on the studs. So what I did is I grabbed my hands here, lifted up, and grabbed here on the front, and kind of picked it up slightly and shifted it back. You don't need to go far, because what you're trying to do is just expose access to the lower shock bolt down here. You'll be able to see that better when we get ready to take it off. So now I'm going to shift over to getting this thing off, getting this thing up in the air on my jack, and then we'll come back. What we got to do is jack the thing up, support both the bike under the engine and also the rear wheel, so it doesn't get all squirrely when we take the shock bolts off. All right, switching over to the GoPro again, and where I'm at now, I'm going to put the compressor in. Here's the compressor. Comes with the kit, and it should bolt up right to these two holes here with the supplied bolts. So what I'm going to do is try to get a good camera angle and do this one-handed. Is I'm going to put the compressor up this way so it's angling up. So it's going to be sitting right there on those bolts like that. So it's going to be nice all untucked. So let me do that. I'll do that off camera. I'll show you it right as soon as I get it done, or at least the bolts started, because I can't hold it and do it at the same time. One side note that I'm going to do, this black wire, important, is going to be our ground. So what we need to do is put that on this bolt. It's going to go through the frame down here of the compressor and into that bolt right there as we attach the compressor. So let me get that buttoned up and I will join you back in a second. All right, the compressor is installed. I've got it attached here. This is a, let me check my, over here. It's a 10 hex bolt right here that you put on. Two of those. There's a slot on one side and the hole on the other. So what I did is get this one started and kind of like push it over there and get it hooked where it slots on. You'll see if you guys get this kit, you'll see what I mean. And then you can find that hole and then just tighten it back up. So that's what I did. I've got to attach this red lead. I've got to attach the 1/4 inch hose right here. And then one little thing I've got to do here, we've got to do a little bit of cable management. This black wire is the ground wire. It's super long. I'm not a fan of that because it's also, as you can see, really close to the belt, really close to all the hot bits and pieces of the bike, and the wheel. So we don't want to get it caught in there. I do have everything tucked under there now, so you can not even see it, which is good. So we don't have to worry about it getting caught on the belt or anything else. So next step, I'm going to attach this lead to this one. I'm going to attach this 1/4 inch hose to here, and then I'm going to put everything inside this this split loom, and then I'm going to run it up there through the frame. All right, so let me get that done. I'll join you top side once that's done, and we will start working on removing the old shock. Okay, so now we're getting to the fun part. We get to take the shock off. First thing to do is just your air fitting for the existing one. We want to get this nut off. And this one actually was kind of a pain in the ass. I had to use a crescent wrench, which I'm not a huge fan of because it's easy to strip stuff out. So just get that out of the way, and then these two bolts up here. The back side is an 18 millimeter. This one's a 17 millimeter. So we're gonna loosen that up. I'm not gonna take it out all the way yet, but you can see the shock is actually getting loose. And then there's an 18 down underneath here, which is what we had to move the frame, or the fender back. So I'm going to try to okay, so now it's time to get our shock ready. We got the shock out of the bike, as you can see. Set that aside, and then the new shock is going in. So this is also a Fox shock. It's just got the air bladder in it, and yeah, so that's pretty cool. Shows Fox on one side, and then Arnott on the other. One thing to note is that on the newer baggers, the newer Springfields, you need to get a kit. I just pulled that one out. You need to get a bushing kit because the bushings that are in the stock shock, the stock Arnott shock, they don't fit with these bolts. So this one does. So you'll see this is one from the kit. It works. This is the one that comes with the shock. No worky. So I'll put these bad boys in there. Unfortunately, they do charge extra. I wish they would just give you one or the other. One's in. So we're ready for that. All right, next thing you want to do is grab one of these brass, it says Voss setting. I'm not sure what a Voss setting is, but yeah, because I'm not an air hose guy. But anyway, so you're gonna put this thing here, screw it in. It doesn't have to go in real tight right now because we're not gonna leave it there for now. Put that in there. Remove the white thing that's there just for shipping, I guess. Then we're gonna grab this nylon. This is the smaller nylon tube that comes with the kit. So we're gonna grab some of this, and we are going to put it in the hole until we feel it, where it feels like it's caught in there. Assuming that's good enough. So let's see. Now we gotta unscrew this again. Yeah, so I think what we're trying to do is making sure that the hose is over this little brass fitting, because that's going to seal it in once it gets some pressure to it. So now with it on there, let's screw that back on. I guess let's see which side it is. It's 10 millimeter, of course. All right. So that is the preparation of the shock. So now we're going to take this back over to the bike. It's going to go in like this if you were riding the bike. So this is going to be on your throttle side. Okay, so let's get set up over there, and then let's fish this thing in. Okay, so we got the new one in. The airline, the smaller airline, is on the throttle side, like I said. This one thing you want to watch out for is the new shock. The bushings aren't really like squished in real well, so it's gonna be a tight fit down here. Not as huge of a deal. Tight fit down there is a little bit more of a pain in the ass because I've got trying to get with these sausages. You don't have a whole lot of room to work. So what I did is we got it close. I came up through the bottom of the fender with a rubber coated handle of a wrench, and just kind of got it on there and just tapped it with the screwdriver a little bit, and then watching it as we take the lift up and down a little bit in order to squish it in and get it aligned up. Once you get it all lined up, slap the bolts in there, 18 on one side, 17 on the other, zip, 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 and you're good to go. So the shock's back in. Now it's a matter of hooking up the manifold, and I'll take you through that and the electronics, and then we're going to have to put this thing back together again and see how it works. All right, so now we're going to get the bracket ready, manifold on the bracket actually. So we got 2 screws here that are 3 millimeter and some lock washers. So put those on here. So, and then let's throw with 3 millimeter. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mount this in the bike with this. This is a 4 millimeter, I believe. With this and the washer, and I believe this is going to act as a ground for the wiring as well. This screw here that goes into the frame of the bike. So I'm going to go over to the bike, put this in there, get that ready, I've got something a little bit going on over here that's different from standard. This is like capped off on theirs, but I put an elbow in there because what I intend to do is to run a gauge, like an analog gauge on mine. So that's what that's going to be threaded. So anything else, this is going to be the airline for the shock. This is going to be the airline from the compressor. And this is your dump valve over here. And you can control how fast or slow, I believe, through here. I have not played with it yet, but I will be. And I might do something different on that too. But for now, I just want to get this thing going. So meet you back over at the bike. We'll get this mounted and start hooking up at least the air. And then we'll return for the power. And then it's a matter of just putting the bike back together again and hopefully having no air leaks. Okay, so I'm reshooting this actually 9 months later. The original video that I did when I got to the part where I was, wiring everything, the audio is absolute crap in some instances and just non-existent in others. So I'm gonna try this again and walk through what I've got here. So the system comes with a switch that you're supposed to mount up here. They also have one that has a air gauge on it, digital air gauge. I don't like the looks of it. It looks kind of ugly. So I got just the regular one that came with it. Aside from not looking good, it's got the logo on it, which it's okay, but I just didn't like the looks of it. I wanted something that I could just put analog gauge on, which I'll do later for the air pressure, and then I wanted it mounted somewhere kind of stealthy. So this is the wire here for the switch. I'm going up under my tank like it says to go, but instead of going all the way up to the bars, what I did is mounted it right here underneath the gas tank. And so it's got two buttons here. I 3D printed, I designed and 3D printed this bracket to hold it in place, and it's pretty sturdy. I'll show you some video footage off into the side here of it printing. So that's where I mounted my controls. Wire goes through here, and then if we follow the controls, I didn't cut the wire. I probably could have and should have, because you've got a big gigantic blob of wires down here. So let's start with the air. The air goes from the shock. You can see right here, got the small air hose. I spun it all the way around here. I didn't want to put any tight bends in it, so it goes down here and then into this opening here. I've capped this off for now. This is where I'm going to put another elbow, and I'll put a 1/4-inch hose that goes to an analog gauge that I bought. Haven't done that yet, but that's going to be coming up. The compressor comes up through this loom. See where I taped the loom up? Here's the power that comes from the compressor. So this is the 1/4-inch air hose. It also follows the gentle bend all the way around here, and I've got it going in right there into the manifold. Again, it's a really tight fit. So here's our fuse block. Goes to the battery, then to the fuse block, then it comes out here. We follow this around and is going into the relay. This is the power for the valves. This one is this is the power of the valves. This is the ground. So the ground goes here. It's grounded in there. And then you've got your controls coming out of here. You've got two red. This black goes to the manifold. This controls the valves, so it controls when you're going to dump or and then the other power goes from the relay, connects up with the power to the compressor, and then also there's red power going to the switch up here. So I hopefully seeing this spaghetti and also the instructions that came with it, you can understand how it is put on and how I put mine on. I've got to tuck all this stuff back in here. I pulled it all. I had it all tucked in. I pulled it all out so I could show you guys where all the wires are. So I'm going to tuck this back in so I can get my bike back together. And yeah, so that's really what it is. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Leave them in the comments. All the tools I used and links to the parts I'll put in the video description. So like and subscribe.